Hey everybody, it's Ed. I wanted to show this awesome record that I got from one of my really good friends, pretty much almost lifelong friend. My buddy Adam was kind enough to send this to me. He knew it was something I was interested in, and basically it showed up in the mail this week, and I was extremely happy. So I've listened to it a few times and pleased to say that it sounds great. And let me explain a little bit of what this is. I think you can obviously see that it is Jaws. However, basically, when this soundtrack was released back in the day, 1975, one thing I never realized was that John Williams actually re-recorded the music for the soundtrack. So essentially what that means is that the music that you're hearing on the soundtrack, LP, cassette, 8-track, CD, whatever, well, there were no CDs back then, but that music was basically just re-recorded for the soundtrack, wasn't actually used in the movie. So my understanding is that this whole soundtrack was pretty much lifted from the movie soundtrack. So, with that being said, I found that really very interesting. But basically, I think it explains most of that here. Music from the motion picture, composed and conducted by John Williams, pressed on two 180-gram vinyl. One of the finest achievements in film music and quite possibly the most iconic score of all time. John Williams' score to Jaws is an absolute essential for soundtrack collectors. While the Grammy-winning 1975 MCA album was a re-recording, Mondo's double vinyl set presents the entire Academy Award-winning score as composed and recorded for the actual film in its first ever vinyl release. Album co-producer Mike, Mendocino restored, edited, and mixed the music from the original studio elements for the best possible quality, approved by the composer himself. So that's what we get here. It's actually really interesting. I still have the shrink on it with the obi or whatever they call it. I'm not taking that off. It is a gatefold, and basically when you open it, it just shows the underwater visage of Chrissy, who was the first victim at the beach, and you see like the outline of the side fin of the shark and the body. It's it's kind of nice, but I didn't feel it was really worth taking the shrink off to check it out. All right, but here we have the back cover. And some of the interesting stuff about this is there's actually music on this album that was not included in the movie. Perfect example is Quint Meets His End. Any of you who are familiar with the movie Jaws, one of my favorite movies ever. And when the part comes when the shark jumps on the boat and gets Quint and eats him, when they released it in the theater, see, I never realized this. Apparently, there was music that was recorded for that, and was meant to go with it. But before it was released, they made the decision to actually keep the music out and just keep the ambience sounds. The sound of the water, the sound of the bell on the ship, and again, when you just go back and you watch the scene, and if you really just take it in, you realize there's no music, and you're listening to all the sounds, and of course, him screaming, and it's just. It's an intense scene. However, this music that was recorded for it, I've discovered probably within the past year, and it was actually on YouTube. And somebody cut the music back with that scene, and it's pretty freaking intense with the music as well. But I can see why they chose not to use the music. But for any of you fans out there, just type. I think it's Quint Death Music. Jaws, Quint, Death, Music. It should pull it up. But I think there's two different versions out there. One is actually mixed a little better than the other. But, you can go and search them out and figure it out, and you'll see what I mean. But compare it. Compare it without the music, and then compare it with the music. And I'm curious to know what you think. So if you do that, and you want, leave a comment. All right, and some other stuff. So here, I'll just show you real quick. Unfortunately, you're not going to see all the times, but most of them are pretty short. I think the longest one is the boat chase. which was maybe 5 minutes, but I don't even think you see that. Yeah, the boom, Man Against Beast film version. It's 5 minutes and change, but everything else is 3 minutes or less for the most part. And the other cool thing about this album is it's on 45 RPM. It is not 33 RPM. Right, and came with this neat little booklet. Let's see how much I can get on that. Just a few pages, liner notes, stuff like that. Casting credits, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, it's not even a book. It's like a fold-out. Okay. So, you get the picture. And stuff like that. All right, so that's basically the gist of that. And then you get the back of it. All right, and then the albums came in either black vinyl or a lightish kind of like sea blue. I got the black. So we have side A, side B. You'll notice it says 45 RPM. Then we have side C. Ooh, blurry. What the hell? All right, I don't know why it got blurry all of a sudden in side D, unless it's just my vision. All right, everybody. So there we have it. The awesome 2LP 45 RPM edition of the Jaws soundtrack, released by Mondo. I'm extremely happy with this all around. Sound quality is phenomenal. Everything about it is great. So to my buddy Adam, who I know will be watching this, I want to thank you immensely. This was just fantastic, and I appreciate it. And to everybody else who watched, thank you for watching. If you'd like, leave a comment. And as always, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Take care, everybody.